cake seems to be important, doesn't it, for social media? My first experience of social media was, I think it was in Coventry actually, for an evening session where I turned up a bit late because of travelling from here, and there was this circle of people, all of whom appeared to be using Twitter rather than talking to each other, that's by the by, and there was lots of cake, and that was my first introduction to this idea that social media is a really sort of, creative group activity. And these people were excited, local government workers who loved their jobs and were excited about working for their local council. I couldn't get over it. It took me back 20 years to when I started in local government, when I was, in those days a junior planning officer, and I thought the work I did was exciting and important and valuable and people needed to know about it. And there was that same buzz. And I've spent too many years in between dealing with all the problems that work throws up, and here was something that took me back to a reminder about why working for a local council was such a great thing and valuable and exciting and all the rest of it. So I got sort of hooked. I'd already been using a blog for a while, but the creative energy hadn't really sparked off me. And that evening in Coventry, probably now sort of 18 months ago, was a real eye-opener. And a few months after that, on a Saturday morning in the centre of Birmingham, I turned up for local gov camp, and 200 people were there. 200 people work for local authorities who wanted to spend their own time on a Saturday talking about how social media could revolutionise the services that they were providing for local people, businesses in their area, people who use highways, whatever. It was brilliant. There was all of this energy, and I think what we're seeing now is that energy is being converted into real change. I guess I've got some bad news for some of you. The bad news is, folks, that those of us who've been a bit geeky and been into this stuff for a while, we're being overtaken. This is going mainstream. So this is no longer, I regret for your sakes, perhaps some of you, no longer the preserve of the social media officer or the comms person. This is mainstream now, this stuff. These case studies in the white paper prove that the sort of work that you've been chipping away at or been involved in for a while has moved from being a sort of fringe activity, a slightly novel, thing on the sidelines, into one of the things that when councils are thinking about the future, they're thinking about efficiency savings or service improvements, whatever it might be, one of the things on the agenda is going to be the communication side, social media, getting the message out to residents and doing it in a way people want it done. And I meant to read a speech this morning, but I've already gone so far off track it's lost, so I'm going to put that down. But one of the things in the speech is a comparison between Sandwell Council's Facebook and Twitter, Facebook fans and Twitter followers, versus the circulation of our local newspaper, the Express and Star, the sort of principal local paper. We've got over 20,000 people following Sandwell Council on Facebook or Twitter, and the circulation of the local paper, just over 13,000. Now, one of those figures is going up by the month, and another one is going down by the month, and I'll leave you to sort of work out which way round that is. But in terms of communication, we are now in a direct dialogue with communities and with people, not about what we're planning to do in the future, but about what's happening today, what we're going to be doing tomorrow, how we're coping with issues as they come up, and it's live in real time. And one of the things that Claire Bustin from our media team came and she spoke to me, I think it was probably 6 months ago, Claire, you sort of appeared in my office full of excitement one morning and said, it's happened. And I thought, well, what's happened? And she said, it's happened. Facebook and Twitter, people are now starting to answer each other's questions rather than it being them asking questions of the council and us always giving the response. And that what's happening now, if you look at Sandwell Council's Facebook and Twitter pages, is that some residents really are saying, well, what are the council doing about this? Or, why didn't that work? Or what happens when it's snowing? And other residents are coming on and saying, well, actually the council's done a really good job here, or they're tackling this one because they said they were tackling it yesterday and it'll be done tomorrow, or something like that. So we're now hosting a dialogue and a conversation that the community are having amongst themselves. And actually, some of those people, many of those people, are telling other people what a good job Sandwell Council are doing. And that works. It used to be the chap in the pub, didn't it, who used to tell you what a bloody awful council it was. Now, it's the person you meet on Twitter who tells you what a good job your local authority is doing despite the cuts and all the rest of it. And we've crossed a Rubicon there. That's when it goes viral and makes the biggest difference. So there's some exciting stuff in this white paper, and it's gone. It was there a minute ago. And what's exciting for me is the diversity of it. There's no pattern, and there's no standard requirement that it should be done in a particular way. Sandwell Council have done particular things, yet every time I look online and see what other councils are doing, I find myself enthused by things that I hadn't thought of. And I was dead jealous when Walsall, where's Walsall? There you go, Walsall Council, probably a year ago, did the 24-hour Twitter thing from 6 a.m. in the morning until sort of 5 o'clock the following day. Every few minutes there was a tweet from Walsall Council saying what different council services were doing through the course of a normal 24 hours. And by the end of the day, I don't know how many thousands of people were following this hashtag, but it was an amazingly powerful way of demonstrating how 200 different council services impact on people's lives through the course of a normal day. And I was spitting feathers about that. I wish to high heaven Sandwell Council had thought of that one first, but you pipped us at the post with that. And every time I look in the white paper or online, I find more and more ideas about things that we could be doing. So that the boundaries seem to be endless, and really the idea of the innovation fund that we're launching today is to help push those boundaries even further out. So I'm hoping that with the offer of relatively small amounts of money, relatively small grants for councils in the West Midlands, that will be the catalyst that just helps this amazing phenomenon go another step. And my experience in the world that I've worked in, I've done a lot of work in environmental services and countryside management and things which have sometimes been on the fringe of local government, where social media's come from. My experience is that small amounts of money multiplied by huge amounts of creativity can do massive things. So the grants that are being offered by this fund, up to £5,000 for a project, I think we've got there something which might catalyse, sort of great innovation and see things come forward which we haven't yet seen. The sort of stuff that you're probably talking about wanting to do, where for the want of a little bit of money, not masses, but enough to sort of get the thing embedded, you might be able to release the next stage of the creative journey. And I think that's fabulous. And I should be really pushing my colleagues at Sandwell to, think beyond the current box and break out again and go for the next step. Because this is the mainstream. This is the future. And I'm really grateful to it for those evenings in Coventry and mornings in Birmingham, because they've given me back some of the enthusiasm for local government that I had earlier in my career. And I think that's just a hugely powerful thing, and that's why I'm so pleased to be here this morning. And I'm going to ignore the rest of the script because it is now gone completely. But I am looking forward to the cake, because cake and social media go together in my mind as well. So thank you very much for inviting me this morning. Thank you very much yourselves for coming. Welcome if you're from, whether we're from Walsall, Cumbria or Essex. I think there's some important stuff around social media, and I'm really excited for what it means for the future of local government and for us in our daily work. So I hope you have a very good morning. Thank you very much.